Now that we're getting ready to start to code, I want to make sure there's a few things in VS Code that was already set up. Now, when you open up code, you should eventually get this, do you want to install recommended extensions? I wanted to show off the recommendations. So there's a new file in here that I've placed under .vs Code for 3 extensions. One of them is prettier, so that we can keep our nice formatting throughout the course. One of them is ESLint, so we can make sure we have our linting. The final one is Svelte for VS Code, so that our .svelte files are recognized by VS Code. So I'm going to install that as well. I don't believe you should have to restart after any of this, but you might have to, so just double check. And now when we open up certain files, like page.svelte, we should see some nice highlighting. CD into apps, and then Svelte site, and then do PI, or PMPMI. And that will install all of our packages. You should have those if you've been following along. Now I'm going to run pmpm dev to run the server at localhost 5173. Now, forgive me already for how bright this is going to be. So this is our Svelte page. It's super bright when comparing it with our dark VS Code theme. So the first thing I want to walk through is how to change some of the styling. We're going to do this at the top level. So I'm going to go ahead and open up source. In SvelteKit, there's file-based routing, but we're not going to touch that quite yet until we break down all of the different Svelte pieces. The main things to know here is that we have an app.html file. So what I want to do up here is just include a style tag for now. And in here, we're just going to say everything within the body. Let's go ahead and make the background color something like a shadow color, like a 37. And then let's make the color white, and probably need to make some of the links white as well. So let's do that for now and go back and preview our page. That looks a lot better when we're bouncing between VS Code and our example here. Now, jumping back into VS Code, let's take a look at our routes. In this route folder, we're just going to deal with this single page for now. We can replace all of this different text. We're going to move that out, and we're going to place in just this script for Hello World. I'm going to split screen this at this point so that we can see this happening in real time. So here's our normal welcome to SvelteKit. I'm going to hit save. This will update to Hello World. Now this gets us back to our example that we were working with prior, where I put Alex. So that's just like the repo when we were walking through the setup. Now remember, when we talked about the templating in the previous section, what I didn't mention is that you can run any JavaScript that you want between those templates. So if I do name, I can suddenly do to uppercase. And now we have Alex in uppercase. Now let's change out the name example and go for something more interesting like an image. So I'll put the tag in for image, and then source equals source. So we're going to change this out to source. And then instead of Alex, we have an image for a fighting cat. That's always hilarious. So there you go. You have a cat that's grabbing at a piece of grass, which is awesome. Now, a couple things here. If I highlight this, you'll see that the A11Y, or accessibility, is giving us a warning. That's coming from Svelte, which is absolutely amazing. Now, in order to fix this, we want to set an alt parameter. So if I do let alt equal white cat grabbing grass, something like that. We can also include that here. You'll notice how my source equals source automatically went down to just source. That's because they can do the parameter assignments automatically. So here I can also do alt without having to do equals alt, and I save that, and now I have good accessibility so that screen readers will get the alt on this image as well. Or if the image breaks, you'll see white cat grabbing grass. Alternatively, if you needed to assign an alt parameter, but all you had was something like name, you still would use the same alt equals and then name. It's just when they're the same that you can avoid this whole syntax being the same. Now, if you remember from the previous lesson, we talked about scoping to the component for styling. Let's add style here, but the only thing that we're going to style is our p tag. So let's take and put a p, and then we'll do color I love my hash 5E1286 for purple. And then we're going to place a p tag here. And you'll notice that we have that same name. Why don't we just use that again? Right here, we'll do name. So now in purple, which is super hard to see, we have cat grabbing grass. So let's do a background on there too. Background color of white. White cat grabbing grass. So that's how we can stylize directly within this single component. If we were to move this component around, that white cat grabbing grass would not affect any other p tags in our document.